Hi, it's Olivia, and a while ago on my channel I did a Bookish Pet Peeves video, and I remember saying that I wanted to do more in the future because there's plenty of bookish pet peeves, and it's fun to rant about the things that the little things that irritate us with reading. It's fun. So I think these are all different pet peeves from that first video, aside from possibly one that I just have to mention because every time I get the chance to mention it, I will. Before I get started though, I wanted to give an update and say thank you to any of you who wished me good luck for my first art show. It has come and gone, and it went really well despite me being a very nervous wreck at the beginning. I didn't know what to do with myself. Here is the big Aaliyah piece that I've been working on in that vlog. You can really, oh wow. You can see my oh my gosh, look at that reflection. Okay, how do I fix this? Maybe if I just I don't know. It was a great night, and it was early 2000s themed, and I just wanted to say thanks to anyone who said congrats or anything like that, so thank you. Anyway, let's get into my bookish pet peeves. My first pet peeve is not really the book itself, but say you're in public and you're reading, and someone asks you, what are you reading, or what is your book about? And especially this, I'm sorry, it's more irritating if it comes from a person who doesn't really read that often or is not a reader, because it just seems like no matter how you try to explain it, the book comes out sounding so awful. You know, a lot of times it's not like genuine interest or just kind of trying to make conversation, but it can make for awkward conversation if you're an awkward person like me. I remember when I was reading A Court of Mist and Fury and someone asked what it was about, and I was stumbling over my words, and I kept saying, oh yeah, there's a fairy, it just sounded so lame the way I was describing it. Next pet peeve has to do with the actual book itself, and that is, I don't know the name for this kind of, can you see, like this kind of binding, what do you call that? Like the uneven pages. I don't know the proper name for it. I really do not like those. I don't see the point of them. Is there anyone out there who prefers this? I know it kind of gives it like a special look. Yeah. My sister just got home. You know, back in the day, none of my family knew I had a channel, so I would wait till they weren't home. And I still wait till they're not home to record, because I don't like recording when they're in the house. I'm gonna just wait till she goes in her room. This next pet peeve might be a little bit odd, because honestly, in general, I think a lot of people do like these, even if they're frustrating, but it's cliffhangers. But I just don't like it when they're really bad cliffhangers. When I say bad cliffhanger, I mean ones that seem to just be there just so you have to get to the next book because you didn't really get a conclusion. Like they kind of, instead of finishing the book and leaving you with like a really cool cliffhanger that leaves you wanting more but you feel satisfied with the ending, it's like if there's the full book and then the last chunk, they're like, hey, let's just save that chunk for the next book so that way people can make sure that they get the next book, and let's just leave a random cliffhanger that doesn't really make much sense, but we're just going to put it there just so people have to know that something else is coming. I can be really bad at describing things, but yeah, cliffhangers that only seem to be there just so you have to get the next book are really irritating. But if it's a good cliffhanger, it's like, dang, that was a good book, we've got our conclusion, but I'm also excited and looking forward to where this could possibly go. This next pet peeve I think a lot of people can find relatable, because I know I've seen it on plenty of pet peeves lists, and I've seen it in videos. I remember like certain people who I know have said this one, but it's when the books aren't numbered in a series. I already don't really like it when I'm kind of just out and about and I'm on my cell phone, but I especially don't like it when I'm in a bookstore or a bookshop, you know, and I'm checking Goodreads on my phone. But sometimes I have to because I don't know which book is next in a series. Sometimes it's really hard to tell if a book is a companion to one. I went to the used bookstore and I left my phone in the car, and so, you know, I didn't have Goodreads to help me out when I was just wandering. I was in the middle of reading Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson, and knowing that I was going to get the sequel because I was loving it so much, and I didn't know what the name of the sequel was. I didn't really know anything about Brandon Sanderson's books, even though I've heard so much about them. I just knew that I had this one. It was the first that I needed to read, and that's all I had. I didn't really know anything else off the top of my head. You know, especially with used bookstores, sometimes it could be harder to find stuff because of the way that they organize things. But they had this, which is the sequel, The Well of, I'm pretty sure now, The Well of Ascension is the sequel, but I didn't know that. I was staring at it for the longest time. If I were smart, I would have seen that it's listed right here and confirmed that that's the next one, but I didn't see that. And so I was just standing there for a very long time going, is is this the next one? I was gonna get it anyway. It's only $1.95, so even if it was the third one, you know, it was a steal. But sometimes it's just convenient to have the numbers right there, so I don't even have, it's such a minor thing, but you know, it would help. My next pet peeve, I don't even know how many there's going to be. I'm just going to keep going, but it deals with Goodreads, and it's when people rate a book that they have not read. You would think that just doesn't make sense to give 5 stars or 1 star to a book that you haven't read yet, but it is always a thing on Goodreads, and I almost don't even get why Goodreads allows it. I think that the Goodreads overall average rating can really influence people, and so it really skews it if before the book has even been read by people are giving it a bunch of 1 stars or a bunch of 5 stars for whatever reason, whether it's because they're super excited for the book because it's an author that they love, or they're giving it 1 star because they hear that there's going to be something bad in this book, or it's by an author who's problematic or something. They're just giving it 1 stars. Either way, I just don't think that it should be getting any stars, just nothing, until someone has read it. These last 2 pet peeves are really, I've noticed a lot in like YA books, but in one of them, for sure, I have mentioned it before, and I really do think it was in that other Bookish Pet Peeves video that I did. The first of those 2 is when there is just a ridiculous amount of detail into how stuff smells. I mean, I know some people like as much details as they can, but I feel like sometimes authors go really overboard with how people smell. It seems like such an odd thing. And in YA, it's always the boys, the love interests, who have very specific smells, and I just don't, that's not a thing. But on to that last pet peeve, the one where if you have not heard me mention before, well, here it comes, is when especially love interests have just terrible communication, when they don't just talk it out. This always happens with love interests who you know they're going to end up together, but they refuse to tell each other major things sometimes because they think it's going to ruin their relationship, or it's just going to cause issues, and so like they just don't tell them. Or they'll start making assumptions about each other, going, oh, well, I just assumed that they thought this, and so that's why I did that. Oh no. And you know, a shining example of someone who loves to do this is Cassandra Clare. And the more I think about it, the more I'm just like, this lack of communication of just sitting down and talking to each other is kind of an excuse to just have a bunch of drama that drags on. That's, I think, why I don't like it, is because it's just a bunch of unnecessary drama that almost always is solved by them just talking it out and going, oh, I didn't actually know you felt that way, or I didn't know about that, why don't you just tell me? It drives me nuts. Maybe that's why she just has like a seemingly endless amount of books, is because her characters never talk things out and it's drama that stretches out for pages. That one's so sassy. I will continue to read her books. I really do love her. Like, The Mortal Instruments has a special place in my heart, but gosh, that is like the biggest critique. So that's where I'm going to end this. Let me know if you agree with some of these, or if you have some other ones that you like. It's always fun. It's always fun to vent about the Bookish Pet Peeves. And I will see you in another video. Bye.